Hey guys, this is Aaron and Bob Cook and Aaron Moneypenny, CTCS and Moneypenny Trucking. We're coming at you raw and live today. Aaron has been on the road now for quite some time. Started out as a driver when I met Aaron here well over a year ago. He was going through some courses and trainings and whatnot to improve his trucking, had a few safety issues. I run a safety and compliance company. We're just going to talk about the importance of safety, profit, and liabilities involved in trucking. And you're going to get some real raw experience from Aaron as he's on the road. He's managing drivers. I think he's got somewhere between 11 to 15 trucks out on the road today. And so he's experienced a lot of things, guys. And so we want to kind of teach and train from a real position where people kind of understand the pitfalls of trucking. I think Aaron is running all hot shots right now. Do you have any tractor trailers, Aaron?
No, we've got 3 semis right now.
3 semis. Okay, so we got 3 semis, drive-in?
Yeah, no, 2 of them are flatbed, one's drive-in. Actually, 4, I'm sorry. And one of them is power only.
Okay, so we got a power only. We got 2 flatbeds and 1 drive-in.
Correct.
Okay,
No,
cool.
yeah, drive-in. Yeah, the other 2 are doing drive-ins, but they're power only. They're working mostly with like JB Hunt, Schneider. We're working on the Amazon stuff. Just all kind of different things, really.
Okay.
Doing some load-out trailers, things like that.
And in my screen view here, what you guys are seeing is a software that we have that basically is going to help you to keep your safety structure in place. Now, either you guys can do it yourself. We can talk about that if you decide you want to reach out to us. Aaron can tell you from experience some of how this has helped him. But the primary thing we're looking at here is really just profit and loss, profit and liability. I don't like to call safety. I don't like to call compliance. I prefer, my preferred term is liabilities, because when you put trucks out on the road, you bring in owner operators, you do your lease agreements and all of that stuff. If you're not careful, it can cause you a lot of liability issues. And liability can be in the form of accidents. It could be in form of increased insurance rates. It can be in the form of bad CSA scores, where all of a sudden now you're being audited or watched by FMCSA. There's a whole lot of liabilities and pitfalls that can happen that hurt the longevity of a company, a small company specifically. I mean, those mega carriers out there, they have huge safety departments, and they pay attention to, their safety from start to finish. And they have multiple agents that will watch different things. So what are some of the things when you first started out, Aaron, that you were having a problem keeping track of when you started bringing on brand new owner operators? Let's talk about that for a minute.
Switch over to my face so you can see me in the video. I don't know if they'll be able to see that or not, but yeah, just some of the things that we really, struggled with coming into it are, hiring and onboarding, vetting guys the right way. So we were actually doing, all the checks, checking their MBR, checking their safety, checking, their CDL stuff, background checks, vetting their experience, kind of standardizing everything, drug testing, things like that, so that it's scalable. So that whenever, you want to bring on 10 people or advance 15 people or whatever, I've done videos about your turnover. When you hire one guy, you got to have 1 or 2 in the pipeline to replace that guy, So just having that scalable system that, somebody's handling that department and not having them in-house, because that's another expense. You got to have, an office, lay them out, the computer software, they might need all the different things. Whereas you came with all one package to help us with onboarding, safety, compliance, management, looking at the logs, all that different stuff. So definitely, just centralizing even the logs, managing the logs, things like that, managing, their ELDs, managing the drivers themselves, as far as, getting a report that I didn't have time to go through every single day and look at every single driver. It's a lot of work, guys, and you guys being able to do that and fulfill that void and kind of help us and take a big strain off of us made me be able to focus on my business, not working in my business, but working on it and scale into other directions, So that was one of the biggest things, and seeing you guys come onto the team and help us manage that side of the business, I've been able to focus here, which is, seeing us grow. I mean, you started when we had, 5 trucks or something? You've been with us for a long time now.
Downscale because you had grown too fast at the beginning, and then you were kind of scaling back to regroup, which a lot of trucking companies do when they first start out.
Yeah, we grew to, 10, 12 trucks, and then all of a sudden we had all these problems come up, and I didn't really know how to handle them, and then you come on the team and you're like, yeah, this is what you need to do. As soon as we got with you guys, you're like, you need to do this, and this, and this is how we need to do it and centralize it. It just made me be able to sleep at night, cover my ass for an audit, things like that, or just, even just vetting the guys and not hiring the wrong people,
Right.
And hiring the right people. You call me, hey, don't hire this guy because of such and such, or I wouldn't do this because of this, or, hey, this guy's messing up, or, one of your team members calls me and says, hey, you need this guy speeding. You need to get him a verbal, write-up or whatever. those things make a difference, and especially for you guys that want to scale a fleet, guys. You have to have a safety department. You can't do every job and wear every hat. It's impossible.
So
You
in
know?
your experience now, and I know you have your wife helping as your, which, she's wonderful what she does, but what would you say? I got 5 primary departments that I say you got to have in every trucking company, meaning that basically there's 5 hats to wear. If you're the owner, you're the carrier, um, and you're bringing on other trucks, other drivers, other whatevers. What are those 5 departments for you that you focus on?
Oh, damn. I don't know. For 5, for me, would probably be, customer service is obviously a big thing. So 2 big factors we made in the beginning, or 2 big changes we made in the beginning of last year was scaling, dispatching, right? Because I was dispatching too many trucks to where my wife was helping. I had other people helping, and we had one in-house dispatcher and some of the guys dispatching themselves. So standardizing that, which I'm actually going to do a video with a couple of my dispatch team members, and kind of see that we were able to scale by taking that job off of me. Then I was able to recruit. So I would say dispatching and gaining customers is one aspect of it, right? That would be one. Number 2 is definitely safety and maintaining what you have as far as drivers and keeping those guys happy and safe, and doing something with the safety department would be number 2, right?
Right.
Number 3 would be recruiting. You have to have some sort of recruiting. So that's where I fall into play. That's mainly what my job is now, is recruiting, and kind of building our brand a little bit more online, but recruiting as far as, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, talking to guys, drivers, answering questions. I have people hit me up almost every day now, anywhere from 2 to 20 people say, hey, are you guys leasing on drivers? Are you guys doing this? Are you looking for owner operators? Are you looking for company drivers? Do you have any trucks available? Do you do team? Do you do non-CDL? Do you do all these things, right? So recruiting is another aspect of it that I would say is definitely number 3.
Let's pause on that one. I'm going to pause you because it is one, and you've hit 3 of them. I think you combine 2, because I think you can only dispatch about 10 trucks. A good dispatcher can only handle
Right.
10 trucks in
I agree.
planning and routing. So, but then you also through customer base. So that to me is almost like a sales job where I'm out gaining customers for my company. So that would be 4 in my book, but you kind of
Right.
combine 1. And then
I would say that like the brokerage and gaining customers and the customer service, I did kind of combine into one, but I haven't even really pushed that side of the business. I've gotten weighed down with some of the other stuff yet. So that's kind of my 2021 goal, is to really push the brokerage harder and push getting customers and push more generalized, focused in-house freight. We have some, obviously, we have some brokers that we have relationships. We have some direct customers. We have some spotty stuff, but I want more dedicated lanes. And that's why we're focusing more on the semi side and getting more dedicated lanes with our brokerage and things like that. And that's obviously a big aspect of the customer service realm of it, and focusing on that side,
And then you got an accounting department, of course,
and then obviously, accounting and payroll, which is basically my wife, and she needs to hire some help.
Yeah. So no matter what, those are really 5 full-time jobs when you get to a fleet level, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Be able to cross over a couple guys into a couple different departments. But in my opinion, you really got to start when you get 10, 20, 30 trucks, you need to have a department head for those areas. So
Right.
if you're building out a business plan. So in my opinion, when we start talking profit and liability, those 5 areas, as an owner of the company, you need to be at least overarching knowledgeable on those 5 departments. Meaning you know what this one's supposed to do and how it's supposed to look if it's done right. And the same with safety, the same with whatever. And then as a carrier that's coming in and you want to expand or diversify your income or duplicate the efforts, once you have a structure in place, then that owner can start focusing on the one thing that they're the best at, like in your case, recruiting. So
Right.
I want to pull back to recruiting for a minute, because a lot of these guys come in, they go file their MC, they go file all their little filings, spend money on insurance, go buy a truck, hit the ground, say, I'm going to go drive my truck for 6 months and then see how it goes. So they're spending a lot of money and kind of tippy-toeing into the industry, not necessarily understanding the business aspects of it. So there's a lot of pitfalls when you get into those. But you could sign the wrong factoring company or wrong contract. I don't know if you ever made that mistake. You could get on and have an insurance broker that's not got all the programs available to you. Maybe doesn't get you the best rate possible, or guide you, or tell you the right place to go. You could sign on. A lot of these guys will sign on for somebody to dispatch them and outsource dispatching. That there's guys that charge up to 10% of a load to run the trucks. And those guys aren't really vested into your company at all. So if you don't know how to dispatch yourself, what do you do? If you're signing on a third party to dispatch you, that's, a pitfall you could fall into, cost you some money. So I see a lot of these things.
Well, yes, and there's where I vary a little bit, and I know Shaggy's big on F the dispatcher and this and that. But I'm the complete opposite. I think you got to find if because some people, let's just face it, they're not good at that. They're not people persons. The brokers are sharks. They're going to eat them alive. They're going to go to the load boards. They're going to get slaughtered after a year. They're not going to be in business. And some people will say, oh, you should be able to dispatch yourself. It's easy, blah, blah. But it's not easy. I dispatched up to 10 trucks by myself for, well over a year. And I know that a good dispatcher is someone you need to partner with. If you don't you just have to know what you're not good at. If you're not good at accounting, you need to hire an accountant. If you're not good at safety, you need to hire safety. And you need to do those things anyway if you plan on scaling. If you plan on staying a one truck operation, obviously you can wear the hats. But if you're going to scale to a fleet, you have to have those departments, and dispatching is part of it. You need good dispatchers. In my opinion, there's nothing no problem partnering with a dispatch company. Even I have done that, and we've found some really good guys. I have 4 different dispatchers now, and the main one that manages a couple of them, he's, like you said, a head of that department, and he has his own dispatch team and stuff, and they're really, really good. And that takes a huge strain off of me and strain off of our company. So if you can partner with good companies, right? Because we partner with you, and we don't have an in-house safety department, and you guys do a great job, right? So if you can find a great dispatcher, a really good company, legitimate company, somebody who is vested in making you successful and doing a good job and they're legitimate, I think partner with them by all means, because it's a tough job.
I have no problem with somebody paying a third party. It's when they first come in and they don't know one dispatcher from another, the mistakes that can be made. And the same thing.
Oh yeah, because
you could sign on with a crap factoring company, and all of a sudden you're bound into a contract that's hurtful to your company growth.
Absolutely. And I think with me saying that, that's a big pet. The thing that I need to go back on is, if you don't know what a good dispatcher looks like, that's a problem. You got to go find one, because even with the dispatchers that I hired in the beginning, they were doing things, and I've hired other companies, and they wanted to do things that were illegal. They wanted to put me in situations that, put me at risk. They wanted to make deals and lie to brokers, which I don't like to do. I wanted, that they'd lie about times and weights and different things. And I don't want to do that. I just want to be upfront and honest and represent my brand the right way. So make sure that dispatcher is representing your brand the right way and doing things the way you want to do it if you are going to partner with them or find another one. Because there is good dispatchers out there. There's guys that have been doing it 20, 30 years, and they have dispatch companies. Just like you have a great safety company, they have a great dispatch company.
Right.
It's just it's getting on their roster and partnering with the right people. Or, like you said, build an in-house company or build an in-house side of your company that focuses on dispatching. I think Chuck over at 402, right? They have in-house people. And they do a great job.
Great job, man. He's got, almost, I think, 20 trucks on the road now. He's been,
right. And I think he even offered dispatching services for other people. Yeah. So that might be somebody to partner with. They obviously know what they're doing. They're obviously doing a good job. They're credible. So they probably would do a good job dispatching for you if you had a 1 or 2 truck company.
Right. So let's talk about your recruiting and what angles you take on recruiting. Because right now, hiring drivers, for a lot of these new guys that want to scale out, they're lost on bringing on owner-operators. They're lost. Now, I believe in structure, the online marketing, the social media, all the things that you should be doing to enhance your brand, okay? But how are you talking to drivers? Why are they contacting you? What have you reached out and done that has instigated those conversations? So guys can kind of get a recurring backlog of drivers, per se, filling out.
Right. It really falls on building a brand. I did most of it. I used to do it off of, the forums, right? On Facebook, all the different pages, hotshot trucking this and all that. And I would go to Trucking 101, Flatbed Life, Flatbed Trucking, Step Deck, because that's what we primarily did, is Step Deck and hotshot stuff. And semis, we brought on some guys that way. But what I found is that you just have to, it's a numbers game. You got to look at 100 to get 10 good ones, Right. The industry standard is a 90% turnover. And I think that our turnover rate has probably been a little bit less than that. We're probably in like the 30%, which I think is good in my opinion. But I have had some guys that I'm like, I know this guy's not going to last a year, and I hire him anyway. And I know that it fills a void for 6 months or 8 months, and I'm going to have to hire another guy, because being a trucking in the trucking industry, you just have to know that that's the turnover. People get burnt out. The average is 3 years. You get burnt out of being on the road. I was on the road for 3 years. I got burnt out from being away from home. I don't care how much money you make. But you make a lot of really good money on the road, but you just, it's not for everybody. So you got to understand when guys get burned out, or you really have to look for company hoppers, because there's a lot of company hoppers out there that they're just not happy anywhere. And you're not going to be able to make that guy happy, so you're wasting your time. So look for company hoppers and stay away from them. and then try to vet guys that are doing a great job. Or even, you know, I've taken a lot of risk with some new guys and it panned out really well, and they've been with me now 2 years, 3 years, you know, and they started up, bought their truck. In fact, I just gave probably 3 or 4 guys this year that didn't have, you know, a ton of experience, a chance, and it's worked out really well for us. They're still with us. They're grinders. They're happy. We're happy. Everybody's happy. And it's working out great, you know, but you just really got to vet them. But as far as the recruiting aspect, you got to be everywhere. You got to be on Facebook. You got to be on Instagram. You got to build a YouTube channel. You got to be everywhere, you know, all the time. You got to be marketing to these people and constantly get that pipeline of flow of people, you know, wanting to get and be on your team and work for you. And that way, when somebody comes and goes, you got one to fill the spot, you know?
Right. Okay. So I'm going to talk a little bit about safety and structure and orientation. I know you've kind of given us props for being good at what we do. In fact, we're even enhancing hiring flows and some things within our software. So the software kind of is the key to us. We also build out orientation guidelines and manuals. Okay. So those orientations, you know, we kind of send those out to you. You got the manuals, you got the driver handbooks, you got policies and procedures that you put in play. And every company's a little different on their policies and procedures, but it's all meant to be branded out to a company. And to me, that's the foundational piece you need for a safety. You got to put your safety department first off. The structure of how you want to manage drivers has to be in place before you start bringing on drivers. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I think that's some of the biggest mistakes we made in the beginning is just hiring guys willy-nilly and not having no set standard, set process. And you came in and fixed that for us. It made a huge difference.
Great. So one of the things I show always is part of that whole thing. Now, look, there's guys, you know, we're going to be talking about this a little bit with safety. There's guys that call themselves compliance companies, the Foley services of the world, if you will, that have been in business for a long time. They do drug and alcohol consortium. That's their primary thing. They'll do a couple small filings for you. They won't get into your fuel taxes. They won't get into anything that's truly over the road performance. Okay, what they're doing is the peripheral stuff that you have to do with the driver to bring them on board. I got to have them in a consortium. I got to have a pre-employment test. I got to have a driver file built. This is all required by DOT. We've never really, you know, I guess at one stage in our careers here in safety, we kind of said, okay, well, that's, you know, where you can focus a little bit on with people that don't know much about safety. But when it comes right down to over-the-road performance, managing a company and keeping that company clean, you have to deal with the dirty work, which is roadside inspections, safety procedures, accidents, incidents, claims. All of that stuff becomes part of what could happen over the road when you get established as a carrier. So even if you don't want to do it right away, you're still going to have to address it. If you're not just going to stay yourself driving, you're going to start bringing in or scaling your company at all, you're going to have to address that department. So like Aaron said, I can wear all the hats if it's just me driving my own truck. I can take care of my own logs. I can take care of this. I can look at that. And I can be responsible for me. But the minute I need to scale this, I need to know my hiring practices and procedures. Okay.
Right.
I need to have it pre-planned out. It's no different than setting up a business plan. So one of the things that we do in every background, and Aaron has seen these, is a PSP report. That's what this actually is on my screen right here. I can probably blow it up to be sure people can see it because sometimes it doesn't show. And this is an actual PSP report from FMCSA. Now, you do have to have an FMCSA PSP account in order to pull these. We do, so we pull them as part of our background checks. And what this does is it checks every CDL driver for their over-the-road performance for the last 2 years. It's similar to a company's CSA score. It's going to tell me what their violations are, and then also if they've had any crashes, those will stay on longer, along with their towaway. So incidents are reported here. Most companies, if they don't know what a PSP is, you just lost your camera. Most companies, if they don't know what a PSP is, turns into they turn it over to their insurance. They send off for an MVR, and the insurance guy says, yeah, he's good to go. He doesn't have any violations that'll cause you an insurance increase. And that turns into a problem because all you're really getting there is a personal MVR. You have no clue if the guy passes or fails his inspections. So when we start boarding people through Aaron, you know, for Aaron's company or anybody we're running safety for, it starts with this before you even hire the guy. This is a very cheap report to pull, tells me what his violations were. I can now see if the guy has 6, 7, 8 violations in the last couple of years of business. Maybe I don't want to hire this guy. I probably don't want him, especially if they're out of services and things that are going to hurt my carrier safety score. So, you know, when you start talking about carrier safety, that's this here. This guy this guy just keeps getting worse. Okay, I keep showing him off because he was a customer of ours. We got him out of conditional status. We did all the work because he was in a problem with the FMCSA, but he wouldn't take any corrective measures with his drivers no matter what we told him they were doing. So we're watching his reports on his hours of service. His guys are unplugging ELDs. When we met him, he had a 75.5% out of service rate on vehicle maintenance and 25.5 on driver fitness. So 5 times national average on driver fitness, which would speak to logs. So when we start looking at the data that he had, and he probably just got another violation with an out of service because he just went up again. Here's another speeding. That's going to fall under driver fitness. So understanding this stuff, having somebody to monitor your CSA score, okay? Because these out of service rates right here, he's double national average on both ends. If he's trying to get new clients or new customers, what's he going to run into?
Right.
High safety score.
And you know, especially with checking that safety score, guys, that's a big thing because I don't have time to run my business and go check to see if I've got an inspection or go check this. You know, these guys give me a report. And like, for instance, I had a driver that he failed an inspection, got it out of service last year. And they never even told me about it. And in our guidelines, when you sign on, they never even told me about it, right? So what happens? I'm a professional company. I'm scaled, right? I have Bob. Bob says, hey, you got to report. What the hell's going on? What the hell you mean I got out of service? So then I can go and find out who did it, why they didn't tell me about them, and fire their ass. And that's exactly the type of you know, professionalism you need in your company if you want to scale. You have to have partnerships with people and get these reports. You know, I did a video. I even did one with Chuck about what kind of reports do you use to run your company like a CEO. If you're going to scale, you got to read reports. We do read P&L, safety, you know, the log reports that I get from you guys, things like that. If you don't have these reports, you can't, you know, manage what you don't measure.
Right, 100%. So like when we're dealing with, I got you to finally change over to GeoTab because it migrates into our system here. So I think I brought it up here. Yeah, and so this is Aaron's logs that migrate into our system here in the software. But the key is now Aaron can pick the rules he wants to put in here. So when you get the right ELD service and the right customer support from that ELD service, so understand, guys, that when you're buying ELD systems, okay, you can go over to TA, and this is how Aaron started. You go to TA and buy a cheap system called TransFlow. It's still a GeoTab system, but what kind of support did you get for that system?
It was shit. It was straight shit. I mean, it's the same thing. If you want to go with Keep Trucking, you want to go with, you know, this one, that one, Big Dog, Big Road, whatever. You got to get good support. You got to get a good, you know, get somebody on the phone. You need customer service. You need that stuff because ELDs it's almost like the liver of your truck. It's not the heartbeat, obviously, because you got the motor and the driver and things, but it's a very key, important freaking part. You know what I mean? And you can't screw around with the logs, guys, because it'll leave you sitting. It'll leave you in violation. It'll leave you with, you know, jacked up safety scores.
This absolute report, but I bet the FMCSA has data on it. And I bet if I looked up, I would almost venture to say 25 to 30% of all the violations have to do with hours of service over the course of a year on FMC or DOT inspections. I would almost guess as high as 30% of all the violations because they check it, they do blitzes on it. Of course, vehicle maintenance is always checked, but when you go through a level 1 inspection, you're going through driver and vehicle. So they're doing the walk around, they're doing all your brake adjustments, they're checking all that, but they're also checking your logs, they're checking all your paperwork, they're checking everything else to do with that driver. And you got to understand that that's going to be every level 1 inspection. If you get a jurisdictional inspection, because I've been speeding down the road, well, already I got a citation for that. Right? And then they're going to go back through and probably incorporate a level 1 and check my logs and all the other crap too. So you got to be sure that your guys know how to use their login device. I mean, we're providing a training mechanism in here in our software, which I'll probably just touch on. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the software, but things you can do in your own logs if you get the right system and the right support team with the ELD service is you can go all the way down to harsh accelerating, cornering, speeding. You can set your speed for getting alerts. These alerts go to both the driver and whoever your safety manager is, so that now you can see either on average or I can see in the moment anything that's happening, even getting down to if my engine light is on, why would I want to monitor that? Well, because that's probably going to turn into a vehicle maintenance issue when I go through the scale. They're going to pull a code. That code should show up on the ELD, and now I know I need to address that, and that should be part of my pre or post trip. So all these things are really preventable if you put the right mechanisms. You're never going to account for accidents or incidents or stupidity, but you can monitor this stuff and actually.
Well, it's like what you said with the speeding thing. You know what I mean? That was a big thing because I swear I don't care how many times I tell the guys when they come on, hey, we're going to monitor your speed. We know what it is. Watch your speed. Don't go over 80 miles an hour. Do this, and watch your speed limits. And I swear, like the first week we get a report, hey, this guy's doing 80, this guy's doing 85. And I'm like, hey, dude, it's real time. I'm getting reports from Bob in my safety department telling me you're an idiot. Stop speeding. This is your warning, you know, and then you can do a write-up and you can let them go and fire them. But as soon as I tell them, and I take a screenshot of what you guys send me, hey, safety department is on me about you speeding, knock it off. No more. It stops right there. They're like, oh shit, this thing actually monitors my speed real time, and it knows when you're changing speed limits in different areas, and it monitors it via satellite and everything else. So that's a huge thing right there, because if you didn't have that, and I wasn't getting a report from you guys, or I wasn't checking the logs constantly, because not only do I have to check the logs, hours of service, see if they're braking, now I got to check braking and harsh and speeding and all these other things. And I got to recruit, and I got to do this and account. I don't have time. So that's why a partnership with a company like yours it's absolutely inevitable if you want to scale your business or be professional. You know what I mean? And so that alone pays for itself, because I can get a report that says, hey, this guy was speeding. Okay, all I got to do is go over and say, hey, stop speeding, guy. You know, and it nips it in the butt. And then the next report comes out, hey, good, no errors. And I can always see who the bad apple is and weed them out of the flock, you know?
Right. And then with your policies and procedures in place, it could be a written warning, termination. It could be
exactly. And you've
retraining.
got that right there. You've got the what to do, when to do type of thing, and training as well. That you can touch on training, but you've got that whole carte blanche system that is just like, it's stupid proof, man. This is what you got to have to run a business.
So
you can't run
a
trucking company.
Yeah, when we put this all in here and we get somebody on board as a company, okay, that wants to scale out, this handles everything from personnel, DOT alerts, everything here in the software. Even if you have a safety manager, just so you guys know, if you have a safety manager in-house, they can do it old school paper way, okay, have file cabinets behind them and go into the ELDs themselves and do all that, which you'll still have, we do for you, unless you're going to have your safety manager do it. But they don't have everything in one house, typically. Okay, I've got companies that we have 40, 50, 60, 80 trucks. One of them in particular, he was paying 2.5 times just to have an asset management software for his cement trucks. 2.5 times what he pays us to do personnel, cement, and monitoring for him. Okay, he was paying 2.5 times a month for the same amount of assets, but it only handled his trucks. It didn't handle the personnel and the hiring. So with this is combined to basically handle all of your DOT regulatory things. So when I have let's just take Scott Anderson here. There's 13 alerts under Scott. When I board Scott through an application process online, he fills it out. I decide I want to board Scott as an employee. I've sent him for his drug test and all that stuff. And now I've hired him. It's going to create DOT alerts that I have to pay attention to. Here's what I need to put in his paperwork. So now I know with Scott, I need all of this DOT paperwork. Now, if we've done the electronic MVR, if we've done the electronic drug test, all of that will already be done and it'll be marked as completed. His application is done, so it's marked as completed because that's part of a driver file that needs to be in there. So everything the DOT requires is automatically in this software. I just have to either upload like his medical card and a copy of his license, his last 7 days of duty service before coming on board. These are things I might have to upload because they're not electronic, but he's going to sign off on that orientation manual that these were the days he worked. So now we know we did a restart or a break before I put him on my crew running my loads, and I don't get any violations for him. So all that stuff is required by DOT, okay? And that's in your personnel file. Then it's going to keep all those driver files and everything, and it's going to set alerts for you when things expire. His driver's license about to expire. We've got a medical card about to expire. He pays child
registration. That came up here recently. You know what I mean? We got an inspection for registration, and we were able to see. I used to have those kind of problems. We'd get out of different things for, failed trailer registration expired by 2 days, whatever. But with this software, we can input the reminders, guys. I mean, that the bonus to to this video, guys, is really going to be from hiring the guy. You can send a link out to him, right? And their software and this partnership would be everything they upload themselves, the application, the lease agreement, whatever you're going to use, right? And then his team sends them out for drug testing, the whole nine, right? And now you have everything in one physical location, and you go in and you've got his driver's license, all his forms, his applications, everything is right there in one physical place. And then you can expand on that and add other things that you want, other procedures that are more specific to how you want to conduct your business and the way you want to do your brand. But these guys build it where it's one process. It's a streamline, come in, apply, boom, 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 boom. And then they literally don't have to send us very much. A lease agreement, a copy of their social and driver's license. So we've got it. Everything else is already in there. When I just say, hey, go to our website, click on apply now. They click on that. All the stuff is uploaded. And then, obviously pictures and different things that we require, we have to input, send them through the training and the orientation. But you guys set up the drug test for us, so I don't even have to do that. It's set up and everything's done. And they're, boom, they're on the road. After the drug test comes back, you got to make sure it comes back before you put them to work. You do all the stuff the right way. You get the inspection, DOT inspection annual on their truck, you know, logos, this and that, boom, they're off on the road working. And it's all one place, one software, one company. Bob and his team manages it, and then boom, boom, boom. That's it. You know,
so moneypennytrucking.com. Here's his application. So I'm going to apply here, and I'm going to apply for a CDL job, just so you guys see how easy this application is. Okay. Now, you're not going to use a phone for it. It is getting to be phone optimized. It's just not optimized for every phone or every device right now. So you do want a laptop or a computer or a large iPad or device for it to work properly and be able to show all the screens properly. But they come in here, and if they're not registered for the clearinghouse, it can automatically go register. So one of Aaron's questions is going to be, hey, you already registered with the clearinghouse when you're bringing a driver on. If that driver has failed to do so, he can come in here in his application, click right there. It's going to redirect him to the FMCSA clearinghouse and his driver registration steps. Now he's done, because we all have to query the clearinghouse nowadays since the new, since January 6th of last year. You got to query every driver when you hire them. So basically, it's going to walk him through that. It's going to walk him through a full application, and it's going to track his progress. When he is done or she is done filling out this application, they're going to get a confirmation number. The second page of this is pretty much whatever Aaron wants to put here. Okay, we still recommend no phones used because we just had too many kickbacks on that. So we want it to be a computer or whatever. But if Aaron wants it to be 3 years minimum of CDL holding and no violations, clean PSP, whatever Aaron wants to put in this, that's customizable to the company. We get here, and this is where the tracking starts. There are 13 pages of the application. The good thing about this application here, guys, first off, if you're coming on board with the software and you want us to help, you know, with that hiring process, orientation stuff, and getting drivers boarded for you, the key here is you're not paying for this applicant. Aaron can have 50 drivers sitting in hold on his application process that he's interviewed, and, well, maybe I'm going to hire this guy or not. There's no cost to that. We only charge on active drivers. So it's active assets that the charge is. So now if he gets an applicant going through here, if they don't fill out the proper stuff, they try to go next, it's just going to stop them in their tracks. They got to fill it out properly. The next thing I'm going to show you, rather than trying to fill out an application on Aaron's thing, I'm going to show you where that application goes. It shows up in Aaron's hiring. It's right here. Aaron can come in here and look at the driver that's filled out an app, and the whole application is going to be already filled in by the driver that's applying, and all electronic signatures will be acquired for drug testing, backgrounds, and everything Aaron needs to board the driver by DOT policies and procedures. Okay?
Right. So then I bring him on to that point, and then it goes to the next step, which is drug testing and everything else that needs to be finished out.
Which is all right here, substance test and whatever, and everything's still electronic. So when we get into the drug testing, I can go in here and actually schedule a test electronically, pull all their backgrounds. You're going to see this change probably in the next 3 weeks, Aaron, just so you know. It's going to be a graph that goes across. We're going from this stage to this stage to this stage. We're doing an update on the hiring processes. And it's pretty sweet. So anyway, I can actually schedule a test for this particular driver because I moved him through backgrounds, pulled his PSP, I like him, and I want to book a test for him. And basically what you're going to do is just select out a clinic. It's got to be a pre-employment. First time around is pre-employment and DOT, federal, and urine. So once I've done that, I can select a clinic anywhere across the country, usually within 20 miles if it's a rural area. Sometimes it might get a little bit. Where are you at, Aaron? Let's just put a city.
Fort Myers, Florida.
Okay. We'll put a 20-mile radius just to kind of show how it works. Over 10,000 facilities nationwide. And this is going to turn into an electronic custody and control form. That's going to get emailed and text to this Marcelo Hoyos, if that's who's applying. It gets emailed and texted to the applicant, and that applicant has 3 days to go take their drug test. So we pick the closest facility to the applicant, so it doesn't matter where he is. He gets to go. If you got a guy that's already driving for another company, so he's out on the road, you ask him where his next stop's going to be in the next day or two, and then you schedule it for that next stop where he might be able to go and Uber over to a testing facility, or even some of these places will have parking, truck parking, but you got to be sure of that. But anyway, he can go take his test even if he's driving for another company, so you can get that knocked out of the way electronically. It's always, well, not always. Test results come back on an average of 48 to 72 hours. If there is a problem with a test, what that means is it's a diluted sample, possibly positive. You could take up to 10 to 14 days before you see that result because the MRO is going to make sure with the lab and all the other stuff. There's 3 pieces of people that touch those tests. You got the collection site, the lab, and then the medical review officer. So all those have to sign off on the whole thing. A good test, meaning guy comes back negative, you should see it right here under test result. within 3 days, the specimen result should show negative and all the other particular data. That's automatically going to upload into the driver's file system. So now we've got a copy of his negative result for your audits and or whatever. It's already attached to the driver. You can attach your driver to trucks and trailers, the trailers to the tractors, and you can make this a whole one unit type thing. This driver drives this tractor with this trailer. The application has a place for them to put their own equipment in as an owner operator. So it's all very intuitive. It's very robust, and it's all electronic. So that's, right, I think, a big key.
A big key. And guys, let me point out this, right? You get an audit, okay? You get notified that you're getting an audit, okay? And you're going to go back to your little file cabinet, you know, pull up your stuff, right? You don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't have. You don't even know what's coming. You have no idea. It's almost like having Bob is like having, you know, a futuristic read into going into battle, right? What guns are they bringing? What are they going to do? Almost type of thing. And he knows, he's been through these things. He knows what's going on. So when I get an audit, I have somebody on my team who knows how to handle an audit and knows what we need to do. And all my stuff is centralized. Being it's pulled up. We have it right here. He can look at it. He can see what we need to make, you know, look good and make right, so that we don't have to go through this other guy with the damaging problems type of situation and end up with $35,000, $6,000, $70,000, whatever, worth of fines. You know, and you can't scale a real business without having somebody like Bob to partner with. You know,
let me show you one. This is an actual audit. Okay, this guy came to us after this audit and after he got fined. Now you can look at the date here. He was audited back in May of 20. Okay, he did not get the result of that audit until September of 20. And the DOT agent walked out telling him he's fine. It's good. We'll get back to you. You're good. So the guy assumed he's fine. His words to me. Okay. Then he gets panicked because this is the report that came to him in September, or just after September. He gets it. And I want to show you something. These are hours of service violations, all of them except for that one. And based on 6 trucks, these are 2 of his drivers that got these violations. So they're going to go through everything. They're going to go through your rolling inventory. They're going to go through your hours of service. They're going to ask you to pull 30 days of logs. Unfortunately for him, he pulled a bad 30 days. Okay. He went back and he told me he pulled from February. He could have pulled from any other month, you know, preceding that May, and maybe he would have fared better. I don't know. But, you know, I wasn't part of this audit. This is just the result of the audit. Okay. So it all comes back with all these violations. 395s are always hours of service. Okay. How did that pan out in the big picture? Here's your big picture. This is the letter he gets in September, and he called us asking if we could get it reduced. And yes, you can. You got a lot of fighting to do to get it reduced, and I don't like to guarantee anybody that it's going to get reduced, but it's a notice of claim. This is the result of that very same audit. Here's all those hours of service penalties. There's his fine. Okay. We aren't talking 3, 4, 5,000. We're talking 33,000 just on hours of service, guys, from 1 month of audits. Okay.
And that, guys, that was a company where he said 6 trucks, and this was only 2 trucks that they violated, guys. You guys think that this? I get it all the time. Oh, this, that, whatever. Especially with the hotshot guys and the non-CDL guys. It doesn't matter. Nobody's gonna do that shit. You're full of shit. Well, I'm telling you guys, this is my guy right here. Here's the proof. Here's the evidence. This is no game. They're not playing around here, guys. So it's going to put you out of business. What are you going to do? Can you pay $33,000? I would bet to say that the majority of you can't, and you're done. You know what I mean? So it's not a game. It's serious, and you got to make partnerships, strategic partnerships, and align yourself if you want to scale your business to serious companies and serious players if you want to do this, guys. This is insight. This is the secrets that nobody's telling you guys. Shaggy's over here telling it. A few people, that's it. But nobody else is talking about this shit, man. They're all talking about how to get loads and get you a hotshot truck. You can make all this money. Where are they at in a year, 2 years, 3 years? I've been doing this now 5 years. Shaggy and some of these guys have been at it 20 years, right? And you're lucky that they're even giving you some free advice because nobody else will. Nobody else is doing it. Yeah. These YouTube stars have been at this shit 6 months, a year, 2 years. They can holler at me when they've been at it 5 years and been through this shit. You know what I mean? So you guys really got to take it serious.
Shaggy's consulting and training is excellent. Shaggy's been on the road.
Exactly.
He's fantastic.
One of my mentors, man. If I would have never met that guy, I probably would have been out of business, man, to be honest. Honestly. Like, if I'd have never met that guy, like, he was just like, what the hell are you doing, man? I remember, I say this all the time, but I started, we put magnets on the truck. I tell this guys this shit all the time. I put magnets on the truck, right? My guys drive down the road. Before we hired you guys, the magnets blew off, right? I'm like, hey, go to the Walmart and put some stickers on, right? Guy goes to Walmart, puts some stickers, or gets them, doesn't put them on the truck. He never put them on. He has them in the fucking glove box. Sorry my language. And never put them on the truck. Goes down the road, gets busted by DOT, right? And I call Shaggy. I'm like, hey man, this is the kind of problems I'm having. You know, I need a consulting, blah blah. And the first thing he said was, "Are you running a half-ass trucking company or a real trucking company? Because real trucking companies with real trucks have stickers on them that don't come the fuck off in the wind going down the road." You know. And that was my first, experience with Shaggy. And I was just like, hey, you're right. Like, what am I doing? So, having experiences like that, where if you're going to be serious, you're going to be real about this stuff, you need to do it the right way. Don't break the mold. Partner with strategic partners, get the right people, and do it the right way.
Yep. Do the right thing. And you can join Shaggy's group for free. You'll have to give him a little information, but he's on Facebook. It's under Shaggy's group. And just join up.
Shaggy's Consulting and Training. We're giving him a plug right now, man. We'll give him a good plug. Shaggy's Consulting and Training, a great consultant. Guy knows his stuff, man.
Yep.
He's been at it years. If you don't know who he is, everybody knows who he is. You need to go look him up, man.
ShaggyExpress.com if you're looking at his training courses. So good guy and a real trainer, guys. You won't be sorry that you joined his group and you ask questions, because he does Q&As all the time on brokering and different aspects of trucking. And it's coming from firsthand real experience, just like Aaron is coming from firsthand real experience. And he's shared with you some of his pitfalls. You need to understand that this, I'm not a YouTube guy going to sit here and go, hey, you're going to make $1 million doing nothing. You got to put in the work and you got to structure right. And Aaron's going to tell you.
That's what I tell guys. But you can get into this company, this business. And I scaled it. We scaled it from my dad starting a Sprinter van to, hot shot trucks to semis now to, 30, we've been as many as 15 trucks. And this year we're probably going to double and go to probably 20 to 30 trucks and be at, $3 or $4 million pretty quick. And I mean, we're already on track. I already see that happening in the next.
Well, those 6 trucks, I didn't show you that part, but those 6 trucks in that audit the previous year. Now he's been around for a minute. He's like a 238 DOT number. So 6-7 years probably that he's been around. But that previous year to the audit, he was over 2 million in revenue. Okay.
Right.
So it isn't.
It's not hard to do, guys. If you think these trucks do an average of $200,000 a year per truck, average. That's the ballpark. You can get some that do almost 300, some that do 150, whatever. But average 250. So you're thinking, 6 trucks, 2.5 million ain't hard to get to in revenue, guys.
Nope.
So it's not hard, and you got to take it serious, because when you start talking about millions, the IRS starts looking with binoculars. Okay, they ain't looking at mom and pop. The average business, 78% of small businesses in America make or break even. They either make 40,000 or break even. That's it. That's 78%. That comes from the IRS, the statistics. So you got to say, when you start doing $1 million, $2 million, it ain't hard to get to in the trucking industry, but they look at you. DOT's looking at you for 20 trucks. They're thinking, okay, the guy with 1 truck, they're not scrutinizing him. The guy with 20 trucks, they're looking at his ass. How is, what is he doing wrong, and how did he get so big so fast, and the audits are coming, guys?
Well, think about this too, guys. There's 3 governing bodies that are involved in your trucking business. Okay. So if I open a restaurant, what governing bodies are going to be in my restaurant? I'm going to have a health board. I'm going to have the city. I may have some state legislation. I don't have feds in my business typically, other than the IRS. Okay. But if I open a trucking company, I've got the DOT, which is, going to be my enforcement agency, so to speak. The FMCSA is the federal overseer, writing of regulations and whatnot. I've got IRS. I've got my state agencies. I've got highway patrol. I've got police departments that could get involved in my business. There's a whole lot of things that can lead to an audit in a trucking company. Then I've got the insurances that kind of control the marketplace for all the small guys, right? The big guys, understand this, guys. You go, well, Swift's out there and they get all kinds of accidents. They have shitty. Yeah, they're all self-insured.
Yeah, but they're all self-insured. They're multi-billion-dollar companies. They made their money years ago, like Landstar Legan, and then they can put you out of business with the snap of a finger, guys. And you guys got to start taking it serious. And if you want to scale a business, be prepared. And if you don't have partnerships in place, like safety with Bob here, or dispatching, or whatever you need to know and partner with, good finance companies for trucks, good insurance companies, you got to insure you, because nobody's your partner. Insurance companies don't care about you. And you got to find a good agent that'll fight for you and fight for yourself and learn what you need to know. So, but one thing I wanted to touch on was the training that is accessible through the software. To bring guys on and they don't know anything, right? Or maybe they do know some stuff, but say they get into an accident and you don't have any information that you've trained them on load securement, hours of service, the other things that can be talk about that for a brief minute, and then I guess we can get off here.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So when you're setting up your training, basically you have a place for class rosters. I have a place for a company training library. So let's say we want to do hours of service training, things like personal conveyance. There might be a section on personal conveyance. There's going to be a section on basics. There's going to be a section on safety, tarping for Aaron's company as
Right.
an example, or
Load securement,
load
things like that.
securement, okay, for straps and tie downs and tarping. Okay, it might be, if you're a reefer, it might be temperature control and proper configuration of your load on a reefer trailer. Okay, all of those things come into play. You can make these trainings your own as a company. Okay, we don't charge a lot for them. We actually customize them out to your company or to your niche, and it'll be everything from an orientation process that you want, that you need your drivers to go through before you even decide to put them behind the wheel of a truck. I got to use one trucking company as an example of this, guys, because there's people that go, when you're bringing on owner operators, the largest one in the country is Landstar, period. Okay, now they've scaled back a little bit. They've lost some of these owner operators. Freight got really good for a minute, and guys jumped out and got their own authority, broke off of them because load boards were going stupid. Okay,
Right.
just like back in 2018, 17 and 18, load boards were stupid. So we're seeing that same type of growth. But guess what? Here, I bet in the next 90 days, because it's starting to scale back down. Okay, next 90 days, all those little yahoos that are running off the load boards and freight chasing, they're going to be back on leasing on with Aaron. They're going to lease on with a good company. They might go back to a Landstar, and the reason they're going to do that is for security. Okay,
Right.
so Landstar takes 30 days because they have a huge safety and security department. So if I want to come on Landstar as an owner operator, I got to go through their policies and procedures here, and I can join them, and I can get started in their owner operator network to get access to their boards, to bring my truck to their authority, to get some of their applications. And when I go and apply now and I start this process, guess what, guys? It's 30 days before they take me on.
Yep.
30 days.
30 days.
Okay, I don't care who.
You got to go do all their little tutorial videos. You got to go through safety. You got to go to their orientation. They make you put the Qualcomm in the truck, yada, yada. They have a set standard, and that's how you scale, guys. You think about it. If you're just doing things willy-nilly, the discriminatory aspect of it, you hire this guy one way, but you don't hire this guy the same way. And it don't even have to be, male, female, or different races. It can just be this practice of hiring this guy was different than this guy. That's lawsuit capability. So when you bring on somebody like this, it's standardized. It don't care whether you're short, tall, fat, whatever color you are, whatever. It's the same process to bring people on the same way every time, guys. And that's how you scale a real business. Are you going to be a real business or a half-ass business? Because real businesses have real scalable processes, and the stuff is the same all the time.
So when I get into class rosters here, I think I got a little demo I can show. Oh, so we're going to pick who we want. That's going to go through. We're going to put a flatbed procedures. Let's just say we use that, okay? And I want somebody to go into that, and I want to set up that training. And I've got a couple of employees that I'm going to make take that. Now I can set a threshold for their test to come through passing or failing, okay? And I can send these guys through, and when it's marked completed, I can print up a certificate at the end of it that they went through this training. This does a couple of things for you. Number one, okay, it knows that your driver actually went through, watch the video, watch the PowerPoint, watch the training, okay? And then they're going to get their own certificate that you get a copy of that you've signed off on. That's going to show, hey, we've taken this training.
And you can set that stuff up like, what is it, 80, 90%. You can set whatever passing rate you want to. Now, guys, and I'll be one, because I was just talking about a while back about this, I was looking at like JJ Keller offers a similar one, but it's expensive, guys. So for you small fleets, you're talking, $100 a guy plus $25 a course. They do 5 courses. You're talking several $100s to train each guy. And if they leave and dip and you never recover that money, in 2 months, 3 months, you just got to get something like this that's more scalable, more affordable for smaller fleets.
So they get a certificate, you get a certificate. This is built for, mid-sized, small fleets, not for JB Hunts and whatnot of the world. They've got their own safety department. They write their own policies. Okay. This is for you guys that are trying to scale out. When do you become a fleet in the industry? 10 trucks. Okay. 10 trucks for the insurance.
That's when they start seriously taking a look at you, as at 10 trucks, when you can get insurance breaks, you can get into these other programs and things like that. So, the average fleet in America, they say like 90% of the fleets are 1 to 6 trucks. So, small companies, the rest of them are the conglomerates, the JB Hunts, the Schneiders, the Swifts, 80% the big ones. People don't even know that.
Yeah, 80% is big boys, 20% is small guys that are going to be in that 1 to 50 truck category probably. Okay.
Right.
So at the end of the day, when we set up this company training, it's going to be specified to you guys. Okay. You're going to have your tie down straps, tarping, all of that. You're going to have an orientation training that they should sit through every single time. I don't care where you're hiring from. Okay. I want them to know my company policies and procedures. I want them to know what to expect from us and what we expect from them. And then I want them signing off on all my documentation, lease agreements, independent contractor agreements, whatever. Okay. And then I'm going to get into the specifics of my niche and the freight we're going to be booking them. Okay. And I'm going to always incorporate accident policies and procedures. And I'm always going to incorporate defensive driving. And I'm always going to incorporate hours of service. The rest of it is niche to your product.
Right.
If you're
so if you, like you said, if you run flatbed, if you run reefer, whatever, but like in ours, we run a lot of flatbed and step deck. We primarily are on that, right? So one that would be tailored to that is load securement. They need some type of, they might be the best guy in the world loaded Titanic itself, right? Whatever. As long if you've never actually have proof that you trained them on something, or at least had them watch a video signed off, what are you going to do in court when that guy has an accident and the load falls off the damn trailer because he was professional super trucker Billy Bob? And they're like, well, what did you do in court to make sure that he knew what the hell he was doing?
That's exactly
what's your answer going to be in that question?
Yep.
That's going to be it, you know? So at least if you showed them a video, something, at least you tried, you know?
Well, you get into this too with the assets. So I do get that stupid, unfortunate accident, right?
Right.
I've got a way of taking care of it here in the software again and tracking everything that happened in it. From accident details, date, time, injuries, fatalities, whatever. So I've got a record of accounting of it in real time right now, because if it turns out to be my fault, and there's numerous reasons why it'll become your fault, just so you know, in trucking, okay? And there's numerous blood-sucking attorneys all up and down the main thoroughfares and corridors that are after your dollar because you're a trucking company, you must be rich, okay?
Right.
But once it's gone through this detail, now I can track that claim through the software, keeping all the proper records on it from start to finish. You can't prevent, sometimes you just can't prevent an accident from happening. Sometimes it's going to happen. Could be a person hitting you. If you've got all your safety in order and you've got records of trainings and certificates and all you did to be proactive as a company, you can now protect yourself from that blood-sucking attorney because you don't have holes in your safety. If you have holes in your safety, he's going to find it. There's plenty of...
Yeah, and it's exactly like what you were saying. We had a bad partnership with the ELD company, right? We've got a new partnership with your recommended one that we, you know, Shaggy's partner and everything with Rihanna over there. And she said, you know, like, hey, your other one doesn't have a team to do a full forensic report on an accident report, right? So that was just like, to me, that blew my mind. And it's like, it doesn't even cost much or anything at all or whatever. But it's like, literally, if an accident happens or rollover, whatever, I can get a forensic report. That's going to help in court. I got you guys to say, hey, I have a safety manager and safety team, so at least I can push some of the blame off. Even say, whatever happened, right, something was done wrong, at least you've got a little bit of a buffer there to say, hey, I was trying to do something right. I was proactive in my process, and I wasn't just willy-nilly in the back going through paper files, not hiring guys right, not doing this right, you know, or whatever, you know. So there's been several times I've wanted to hire a guy, and Bob calls me and says, hey, I wouldn't hire this guy. Look at his safety report, you know. He's got a bunch of taillights out. He's got this, failure to secure load. He's got a speeding ticket, whatever. Okay, boom. Now I'm on to the next one. And if you don't have those partnerships with a professional company like this or an in-house person, you're not going to catch that stuff, guys. And then that guy's going to go do something under your company and put you at risk.
And I'm always gonna leave this caveat for us being the third-party safety company, guys. We're going to make the recommendation. You're the owner of the company. Ultimately, you're responsible. Okay.
Right.
But if you don't take action, I can only work with you so long before my name is ruined as a safety guy. Because if you're not going to take action and remove a driver, take proper policy procedure steps to ensure you don't run into that, you know, audit over here that I just showed you. Okay. Again, you're going to try to blame me. Okay.
Right.
At the end of the day, that same company that had 33,000, I'm having a struggle with them because he wants to rush people to drug and alcohol. He doesn't take the recommendation on not hiring certain people. He's got a guy that just got picked up with a bag of weed in his truck, and he still wants to keep him on the road. Those are things.
Hell no, man! I'd fire that guy.
Positively should be terminated. You know
what I mean?
So
I don't have anything against anybody that smokes weed, right off. I don't have anything against you, but all I'm saying is you ain't gonna be in my damn trucks. You ain't gonna be. You know what I mean? Come on, man. So there's a guy on YouTube. There's a guy on YouTube that he had a pretty big channel, man. I don't know if you know this, Bob, but I cannot think of his name. This happened to me the other day too. I was talking about it. But he had a pretty big channel, and he actually had two people. One got busted for like a blunt, got arrested, and the other driver had to. It was a team driver, a female, had to drive the truck somewhere, and she's like, "Oh, he's getting arrested," you know, this and that. So then he has a different person who also gets busted on a weed charge. So now somebody called him in on YouTube because this happens all the time. They troll people and they'll call DOT or whatever and try to report you because they don't like your YouTube channel or you or whatever. You know, haters going to hate. But they called the feds and said the guy was trafficking marijuana.
Oh, geez.
So the feds actually come to the guy's trucking company and says, hey, what the hell's going on here? You've got 2 reports of marijuana instances in the trucks, drivers and stuff. What's going on? You know, so then he had to go through an investigation. Well, that led to find out that one of the people he was partnered with was getting kickbacks from a major conglomerate brokerage or something. So that guy ended up actually going to jail for some other fraud stuff because he was getting kickbacks and stuff. And so this guy got off on everything, I guess, and didn't have any problems, but he lost his trucking company, had to start over from scratch. And he had, I think they were working like 6 trucks on his end and his partner had 25 trucks or something. So just that one little thing and getting reported with a weed thing, man, I'm done. I'm out. You're fired. See you later. You're too stupid to drive, honestly, you know?
Yeah, I agree, 100%. So you should.
Why keep them when there's so many other fish in the sea? You know what I mean?
Exactly. This all starts.
You know, I had a guy call me actually. He lives in California where it's legal over there. He's got a medical card, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, I can't hire you. There's no way. You know, I don't care. Whatever's over there, I don't have a problem with it. I'm just saying it doesn't make sense in business. And this guy's going to say, well, you know, next month I'm going to quit and I'll be cleaning this. It's like, no, it's a risk. It's a liability. You know, if you're into that, cool. This isn't the career path for you, probably. You know, go own a trucking company. You could probably own a trucking company and smoke weed at home, but not drive the truck. You know what I mean?
Until the federal government changes its weed policies for trucking, okay?
Right.
Absolutely cannot be involved with it. So, and so when we make the recommendation, guys, the caveat is this. If I say, hey, you probably shouldn't hire this guy, or hey, first off, you need to cover your ass. I'll tell you exactly what I told this guy when the bag of weed was in the, okay, he says, what do I do? Well, first off, he's out of service. He got written a violation. He didn't get hauled off to jail with a bag of weed in his truck, but he did get written a citation. So you got to go to court, okay? But that guy cannot drive right now. You need to do a reasonable suspicion test on him, okay?
Right.
Well, can I have him take the truck over to the, no. He cannot drive right now.
He can't move the truck, right?
He's trying to move the truck and trying to get the load and trying to do everything the other way. And I had to say, no, you cannot. And it's not my company, you know, so he can do whatever the damn hell he pleases, obviously. But then he said, well, should I fire the guy? I said, here's what you need to do. Take him to return to duty. You've already got a reasonable suspicion. Okay. You've already got cause for termination. So do that. Have him sign off that you took that action and then terminate him. That's what should have been done right there. Didn't happen.
Right. What do you think Swift's going to do? What do you think Schneider? You think they're friends with you? Okay, yeah. We'll put you in a substance abuse problem and this and that. We're going to keep you. No, your ass is gone. Period. See you later.
And with the clearinghouse, guys, just so all you CDL drivers that are looking at, you know, bending a rule here or there, once you've got a positive on your test, it's at the clearinghouse level now. So it will follow you for your whole CDL life. And if you didn't take the proper actions to return to duty, go through the substance abuse program, you're not qualified to drive, according to the FMCSA.
Let me ask you a question. Because I get this a lot, and they're like, oh, that's bullshit. I wouldn't do this. When I get home, I'm pulling my letters off the truck. I'm going to drive it normal, like a hotshot truck, mostly hotshot guys. Semi guys, they ain't screwing with this, right? But hotshot guys, I'm pulling the letters off, but I've still got portion plates on the front of my truck. But and they say if an officer pulls me over, he's an asshole for that. Why would you do that? I'm at home in my own personal time. What do you think about that? And what do you think about trying to have it as a personal truck and a company truck? Because I'm all on, if it's a company truck, it's a company truck. Don't take the letters off. Don't do none of that shit. It's a work truck. Go get you a truck for home and have a work truck. And you should be able to afford it. You're making $10,000 a month profit with one truck by yourself driving, you know, so why would you need to use that work truck at home?
That falls under best policies and procedures. And everybody in this that watches this video needs to understand that the FMCSA has interpretations for their regulations. Okay.
Right.
So they can write a regulation and say, I'll give you an example, personal conveyance. Okay. Technically, I can start my day off going to a restaurant in my truck, loaded or unloaded, not be on duty and put myself down for personal conveyance according to FMCSA regulation. But under interpretation, it depends on what I did yesterday. It depends on what my break was. It depends on this. And I have to be able to defend that position as a driver of why I put myself on PC and why I was not on duty when I drove that truck to that restaurant. And if I cannot defend that, then they're going to write me a citation. And they're going to be smarter than me, and they're going to use their own interpretation of what that rule says. So that'll fall with the portion plates. That'll fall with almost any other regulation. So understand, there are so many they allot for gray area because it's going to be allotted up to that DOT agent that's in front of you.
I'm going to pull a Shaggy here, but what do you think insurance looks at this stuff when you go to renew next year? Do they look at your safety? Do they look at your PSP?
Oh yeah,
No shit.
100%.
No shit.
They control the
No,
industry, brother.
really?
Yeah. Why wouldn't they? You're a risk.
You know what I mean? Of course they do, guys.
The
And
more
that's why you
shit
guys
got on
can't
your
get
thing, the more risky you are.
right. That's why you got all these guys got 1-year trucking companies, because they get their quote and then they screw it up, and then next year they can't get insurance,
Right.
or they can get it. Progressive says, yeah, we'll insure you $50,000 a year per truck, no problem.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We'll just fork it out, right? We got it. We got it to
Wants
spend.
pay
You know,
$30,000, $36,000. Okay, so if you're starting your authority average is somewhere around 15 grand, depending upon what state you're operating from. Okay, what city?
yeah,
And state.
it's 15 to 25. I've been hearing guys
In
get
Florida,
quotes for
Florida, it's
25,000.
to 20 grand.
No, everywhere. I've been hearing 20, 25,000.
For a
But a
brand
lot
new?
of guys are lucky if they got good credit, they're getting 15. You know.
Yeah, the lowest I've seen with a brand new company, 800 score credit, reasonable asset, okay, and good driving record. I saw somebody get 11.9 last year.
Yeah.
Okay,
I saw the best one I saw last year was like $9,800, but he was one guy, one truck, had a bunch of experience, perfect credit, you know what I mean, and stuff like that, and they were able to relay some of that experience over. But when I started, I had to pay like $25,000. But
Yeah,
we started with cars. We should have started freight only and no cars, and we started with freight and cars. So that's why it was 25,000, and we didn't see a discount until like 3 years.
Plays a factor there.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this has been great, man. I love just, talking about what safety means to you, what it means to me. I'm giving you a huge shout out, so people need to go check you guys out. Tell them where they can find you.
All right, so we are at www.crosstcs.com, CROSSTCS.com, or you can call me at 888-493-3152. My direct extension is 401, and we can have a conversation. And you don't have to buy anything from us. We're not out here pushing product like a sales organization. We're out here to help you guys succeed. Aaron's out here, and I think what I want to do, and I'd like to do this weekly with you, Aaron, if you want to, but what I'd like to see is we start talking about profitability and how he books out his trucks, how he uses his dispatchers, how he does things a little different than maybe some of you guys out there, so you can get some real firsthand experience seeing, how things are running in a real-time operation right now that's out over the road. His drivers are on the road today. This isn't somebody that did this 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever. This is in today's market and what it means to him and what type of profitability. Because again, if we're talking about training and teaching and Q&As, we're talking about profit and liability, because you can go out and make the money. But my dad once said to me, and I've held true to this, it doesn't matter how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. Okay. And if you're making money out of the safety side of things, you're not keeping it. And what good does it do you to make $1 million if you freaking give away 980,000 of it?
Right, exactly. And guys, I'll second that up. Where where to find me: consultthetruckingguy.com, Instagram, The Real Trucking Guy, YouTube, The Trucking Guy. But I mean, at the end of the day, guys, if you don't have a strategic partnership, I mean, Bob's taking us. He started with us. We had like 2 or 3 trucks, and he's taking us all the way to where 10, 15 trucks now. You go look us up. We usually have 12 to 15. There's always guys coming and going. It's just part of the industry. But and he's gonna stay with us. I mean, we love his service, and we aren't going anywhere. We've been here for a long time now. And we're going to continue to grow all the way through 30, 40. Our goal is maybe 40, 50 trucks and stay in that size. We're not looking to be crazy big, but that's where I want to be. And
I say 20, at least 20 by the end of the year, bro.
We'll be at 20 by the end of the year. We'll be over 20. We'll be 25, 30 by the end of the year for sure. 100%. I've already got, in the next 90 days, we'll probably be at 20. I mean, I've already got those plans in place. So, and it'll be semis, guys. I'm not dogging hot shots, but I'm trying to get away from that a little bit. And have at least 50% of my trucks on the books as semis or more. For one, insurance looks at it and you get a break, and they like to be partnered with semis. They don't like to be in business with hot shots. They will do it, but it's not something that they like to do. So, strategically with my partnerships, semis, things get cheaper. Dispatching gets cheaper. Safety, things change where semis are just easier to run. Don't reinvent the wheel, guys. You're trying to take a small truck and make it do what a big truck's supposed to do. And for longevity, for future, for things like that, the semi is the way to go. So that's what we're focusing on, and we'll be well over 20 trucks in the next 90 days probably. I know I haven't made a lot of videos. That's one thing, guys. I've been off the video thing for like a month. I'm getting back on the game here. I'm bringing you guys some super content. Bob is one of the best in the business. He's partnered with and friends with Shaggy and all the guys that have really they're some of the only people bringing real content. None of the fake shit. None of the stuff that doesn't work. They're bringing you real content. This is part of what I wanted to do. I brought you guys that had 20 truck fleets, like, Chuck over 402. Shaggy, I've done some videos with him and put them on my YouTube. Now I got Bob. I'm going to bring the dispatch team, and we're going to do some more of this stuff. and really get you guys on the right path. That's what I want. I want to help people and get them on the right path, man. If I would have never been where I'm at today without the help of this man right here, without Shaggy, without some of the partnerships that I've been able to make, guys. And you can't sustain and scale a real business, a real fleet in this industry without partnerships. You can't do it.
Yep. All right, man. So it's been real. It's been good. You guys know how to get a hold of us. And I'm going to be posting this on my YouTube channel, and then Aaron should have it up on his. So we appreciate y'all watching this, and it's going to be recorded and ready to roll here in a few minutes. And you can always rewatch it anytime you want.
Awesome. Catch us on the next one, guys. Trucking Guys signing out. We appreciate it. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you. Take care, Aaron.
See ya.